participation of 40 countries, the Conference of Syria Friends opens in Tehran to search for a political solution to the crisis in Syria. Lavrov stresses that lifting arms embargo on Syrian opposition hinders efforts to hold an international conference on Syria. Our armed forces eliminate al-Nusra terrorists and destroy their weapons and hideouts. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yara with the news in English. With the participation of delegations from 40 states in search of a political solution to the Syrian crisis, Syria's Friends Conference convenes in Tehran under the motto Political Solution and Regional Stability. During his meeting with former Lebanese President Emil Lahoud on the sideline of the conference, Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi stressed that this country's stand towards the crisis has always been clear, represented in rejecting foreign intervention in its affairs, because such intervention would only complicate the situation. Salehi also held talks with a number of chief delegates to the conference, asserting the need to solve the crisis through peaceful means. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas, on his part, voiced hope the debates and the exchange of viewpoints among the participants in the meetings would contribute to the success of the international conference to be held on Syria in Geneva next month. Arakchi said Iran distinguished between the armed terrorist gangs and the real opposition, who sought to find a solution to the crisis through national dialogue between the government and the opposition that believes in a peaceful solution. Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi said in a speech before the Conference of Syria Friends in Tehran today that the conference is an important step towards finding a political solution to the crisis in Syria, adding that the previous Iranian initiative was not implemented because of foreign interference. Salehi pointed out that what is happening in Syria may lead into instability in the region and the whole world, and the increase of violence, let alone the delay in finding a political solution to the crisis in Syria. Salehi said that Iran has submitted a 6-point plan to solve the crisis in Syria, pointing out that the Syrian people are the ones who determine their own future. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has affirmed that lifting the European arms embargo on weapons to Syria lays obstacles in the way of the convention of the International Conference on the Syrian crisis in Geneva. In a press conference held in Moscow, Lavrov warned against the increasing number of fighters coming to Syria from North Africa and Europe. He emphasized that the Syrian opposition abroad do not feel the suffering of the Syrian people, as most of them live outside Syria. Russia's permanent representative to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, has reiterated his country's support for the principle of non-intervention in Syria's affairs and the need to focus on finding a political solution to the crisis in the country. In a press conference, Churkin said, supplying Syria with Russian S-300 missiles would help deter foreign military intervention. Churkin added that Russia would supply Syria with weapons according to known contracts signed before the beginning of the crisis. He warned that other sides are providing the armed gangs with weapons, a step that would increase the violence, pointing out that the weapons sent to Russia by Russia to Syria help enhance regional stability, as Syria is a key state in the Middle East. Welcome back. Our armed forces have restored security and stability to Ad-Duwair and Al-Muhajirin villages in Homs's northern suburbs. Meanwhile, the army continues its operations in Al-Qusayr, eliminating a large number of terrorists inside the city and destroying their hideouts. The army troops took control of 8 hangars out of 15 in Al-Dab'a airport near Al-Qusayr. Our army units today continued their operations against terrorist hideouts, destroying an ammunition warehouse in the surroundings of the central prison, Minnig Airport, and the southern entrance of the city of Aleppo. A large number of terrorists were killed, and a 23mm caliber anti-aircraft artillery gun was destroyed near the glass factory, the iron warehouse, Al-Khulandi fuel station, and Al-Madafa Hill near Aleppo Central Prison. An army unit destroyed a warehouse in Al-Jubayla village. Another unit killed 16 terrorists in the surroundings of Al-Kindi Hospital. Moreover, 23 terrorists were killed by the armed troops in Al-Alqamiyya village and the farms surrounding Minnig Airport. Their weapons, ammunition and criminal tools were destroyed. Several armed men who had perpetrated acts of killing and looting were also killed or wounded near Alam al-Sahar restaurant on Aleppo-Idlib highway. The army also eliminated a number of terrorists at Ash-Sha'ar Square in Aleppo. 3 of them were leaders of the armed terrorist groups. Our armed forces eliminated numbers of terrorist leaders and destroyed factories to make explosive devices and terrorist hideouts in Damascus countryside. In the areas of Talat al-Mistah and Barze, the army destroyed terrorist hideout and the weapons hidden in it. In Jobar, the army carried out several operations in the areas of Al-Manashir roundabout and the Teachers Building, killing and injuring scores of terrorists. The terrorist leader affiliated to the so-called Shabab al-Huda battalion terrorist group was killed along with a number of his group's members in Al-Ab farms in eastern Al-Ghouta. 10 factories to manufacture explosive devices and mortar shells were destroyed in the industrial zone in Douma. An army unit clashed with an armed terrorist group in the western entrance of Harasta city and killed the group's leader and scores of his group's members. In Beit Sahem town, an army unit destroyed a terrorist hideout and killed and injured scores of terrorists. In Dalla countryside, our armed forces targeted terrorist hideouts in the areas of Jumla, Al-Shabrak and Tzil, killing and wounding dozens of terrorists. The army confronted a large number of terrorists in the town of Al-Nuaime, killing and wounding a number of their leaders and destroyed their criminal equipment and weapons. In Hama, our armed forces destroyed hideouts of terrorist groups in Tal Ahwash area in Hama countryside, killing and wounding dozens of them. In Latakia countryside, our armed forces targeted terrorist gatherings affiliated with the so-called Jabhat al-Nusra in the towns of Al-Rayana and Al-Rayhaniya, killing and wounding large numbers of them, the majority of whom are non-Syrian. In Idlib suburbs, our army has targeted armed terrorist groups in the surrounding of Wadi al-Daif and Al-Hamidiyya village in Ma'aret al-Nu'man, killing 3 terrorists and destroying a Doshka machine gun equipped car, a tank and a vehicle. In Deir ez-Zor, the army thwarts an attempt to steal railway equipment worth billions of Syrian pounds. The material had been prepared to be sold to Turkish tradesmen in Al-Husayna village in the governorate's suburbs. Finally, the People's Assembly today held the 5th session of the 4th ordinary cycle of the 1st legislative term, headed by Assembly Speaker Muhammad Juhad al-Laham. On behalf of the People's Assembly, al-Laham greeted the martyrs of the 29th of May, who upheld the homeland's pride and dignity. In a statement, al-Laham said, "The crime of shelling the parliament and Damascus city by the French colonialists, which claimed the lives of 30 members of the Syrian gendarmerie force and hundreds of Damascenes, embodied colonialist hatred and an extremist terrorist thought." Al-Laham said, "The French government that practiced terrorism, killing and destruction 70 years ago is now repeating its rotten history in supporting the terrorism targeting Syria in order to weaken it and divide it into many states." With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Vani Genjian after a short break.
Good afternoon. The Ministry of Water Resources held a workshop at the General Establishment of Drinking Water with the aim of benefiting from scientific staff to find suitable solutions for all the problems in the water treatment facilities. Minister of Water Resources stressed the Ministry's full readiness to provide the facilitations for all the experts in this domain to start new water treatment plants. Participants in the workshop presented new visions for a working mechanism to introduce the best methods of water treatment in the country. The General Establishment of Textiles said that the total production has reached about 38 billion Syrian pounds, as the establishment could achieve a production value estimated at 3 billion Syrian pounds in the first quarter of the year, while the gross domestic product reached 1.6 billion Syrian pounds, out of a total value that is estimated at 27.4 billion Syrian pounds. The sales of the establishment has reached 4.3 billion Syrian pounds during the first quarter of the year. The American crude oil fell ahead of data showing a decline in the U.S. gasoline stockpiles. Futures dropped as much as 0.9% after gaining for the first time in a week yesterday, as the U.S. consumer confidence rose to the highest in 5 years. U.S. stocks advanced after data showed consumer confidence climbing to the highest level since 2008, while the European stocks fell after the Stocks Europe 600 index rallied the most in a month on concern that the Federal Reserve will reduce debt purchases as the economy strengthens. Japan's Topix index rose for a second day, trimming losses from the biggest weekly slide since the rally started in November. Gold rose, trimming a second monthly decline, as lower prices attracted some investors amid an extended drop in holdings in the exchange-traded products. Spot gold climbed 0.2% to reach $1,383 an ounce, down by 6.3% this month. The yen strengthened against the dollar and the euro after the Bank of Japan governor said that a stable financial system is important, as the central bank added a new stimulus to the economy. Japan's currency climbed against all of its 16 major peers as the nation's Topix index of stocks rose for a second day. With this, we conclude our news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.